The crash echoed through the house like a thunderclap, sharp and unforgiving. I felt the glass give way beneath my weight, splintering into 1,000 jagged pieces that rained down around me. Pain bloomed across my arms and face, hot and immediate, as shards dug into my skin. I hit the patio stones hard, the breath knocked out of me, tasting blood on my lips. For a split second, the world blurred, the afternoon sun glinting off the broken fragments, the distant hum of a lawnmower somewhere in the neighborhood. Then, silence. Absolute, chilling silence. Sarah stood there, her arms crossed, lips pressed into a thin line. Tom loomed beside her, his face twisted in a mix of anger and something colder, like satisfaction. Neither moved to help me. No gasp of horror. No rush to my side. Just those eyes, watching me bleed on their perfectly manicured back porch. I pushed myself up slowly, glass crunching under my palms, feeling the warm trickle down my cheek. My blouse was ruined, streaked with red, but that was the least of it. The real wound was deeper, carving into the place where a mother's love should have been unbreakable. You think you can just walk away? Tom's voice cut through the quiet, low and mocking. Sarah didn't say a word, but her silence screamed louder than any insult. I met her gaze, searching for the girl I'd raised, the one with pigtails and scraped knees, the one who'd curl up in my lap during thunderstorms. She wasn't there. In her place was a stranger, hardened by years of quiet resentment and unchecked greed. I didn't respond. Words felt pointless now. Instead, I turned and walked away, each step deliberate, ignoring the sting in my cuts and the ache in my chest. My car was parked in the driveway, keys still in my pocket. As I slid into the driver's seat, hands trembling on the wheel, I caught one last glimpse of them in the rearview mirror, standing amid the wreckage. Unmoving, the engine roared to life, and I drove off, the suburban streets of Seattle blurring past me. That night, alone in my modest apartment overlooking the Puget Sound, I bandaged my wounds and stared at the phone. It was time. Time to end the charade. People say betrayal sneaks up on you. But looking back, I see the signs were there all along, like cracks in a foundation you ignore until the whole house comes down. When Sarah was born, I was 28, fresh out of a bad marriage, scraping by in a tiny walk-up in Tacoma. Her father? Gone before the ink dried on the divorce papers. It was just us. Me working double shifts at a diner during the day and freelancing graphic design at night. My hands were raw from scrubbing counters, my eyes heavy from staring at screens until dawn.
But Sarah?
She was my light. Those big blue eyes. That infectious laugh. It made every sacrifice feel like a gift. I scrimped and saved, putting her in the best preschool I could afford, even if it meant ramen for dinner 3 nights a week. By the time she hit elementary school, I'd turned my side hustle into a full-fledged design firm. Long hours, endless pitches to clients. But it paid off. Sarah got ballet classes, summer camps, a bedroom full of books and toys. I told myself it was for her future, to give her the stability I'd never had growing up in a string of foster homes. She thrived, straight A's, captain of the debate team, scholarships pouring in. When she turned 18, my business boomed. A big contract with a tech startup in Seattle led to more. And before I knew it, I'd sold the firm for a figure that still makes my head spin, $25 million after taxes. I didn't flaunt it. Instead, I tucked most away in a trust, managed by my old friend and lawyer, Elena. The trust was ironclad, protected from lawsuits, divorces, even family claims without my explicit consent. I lived simply, in that same apartment, driving a sensible Honda, Sarah knew about the sale, but I downplayed the amount. Enough to retire comfortably, I'd say with a shrug. I wanted her to build her own life, not rely on mine. Foolish, maybe, but I believed in tough love. Then Tom entered the picture. They met in college, him a finance major with slick hair and sharper ambitions. The first time he came to dinner, his eyes scanned my place like he was appraising it for auction. Nice setup, he'd said, but his tone implied it wasn't. He was polite at first, helping with dishes, asking about my health. But underneath, I sensed the calculations. Sarah adored him, and soon they were engaged. I helped with the wedding, quietly footing half the bill for my savings. They bought a house in the suburbs, a craftsman-style beauty with a big yard. I contributed to the down payment, thinking it was an investment in their happiness. But happiness? It started to fray at the edges. Tom lost his job in a market downturn, and the requests began. Just a loan to tide us over, Sarah would say, her voice sweet over the phone. I gave, because that's what mothers do. A few thousand here, help with the kids' private school tuition there. The grandkids, little Emma and Jack, were my joy. I'd babysit, bake cookies, take them to the zoo. But over time, the gratitude faded. Tom's comments grew biting. Must be nice not working, he'd mutter when I visited. Sarah would laugh it off, but her eyes held a new edge, like she agreed. One evening, after I'd spent the day watching the kids while they ran errands, I overheard them in the kitchen. She's got more stashed away. I know it, Tom whispered. Why else live like a pauper? Sarah sighed. Maybe, but she's not sharing. We could use it for the remodel. My heart sank. They weren't seeing me, they were seeing dollar signs. I kept quiet, watching the shift. Invites came less often unless they needed something. Birthdays were forgotten. Calls went unanswered. The love I'd poured into Sarah was turning toxic, poisoned by entitlement. It built slowly, that resentment, like a pot simmering on the stove. You don't notice until it boils over. The chill set in gradually, the kind that seeps into your bones before you realize you're freezing. After that overheard conversation, I started paying closer attention. Sarah's visits to my apartment grew rare, and when she did come, it was with a list, subtle at first. Mom, the car's acting up again, she'd say, eyes hopeful. I'd write a check, but the hugs felt shorter. The thanks mumbled. Tom? He dropped the pretense altogether. You're lucky we even bother, he snapped once when I declined to fund their Hawaii trip. Family helps family, right? I tried to brush it off, telling myself it was stress, the kids, the mortgage, Tom's new job that paid less than expected. But deep down, I knew. They thought I was tapped out, a relic from another era, clinging to pennies. The truth? My trust had grown, compounding quietly into 30 million. Investments in tech stocks, real estate bonds, Elena's genius. But I said nothing. Let them believe what they wanted. It was a test of character, one they were failing spectacularly. My neighbor, Clara, a retired teacher with a no-nonsense vibe, clued me in further. We shared coffee on the balcony most mornings, watching ferries cross the Sound. Saw Sarah downstairs yesterday, she said one day, stirring her mug. She was on the phone, complaining about how you're hoarding whatever's left. Said you'd be dependent on them soon. I nearly spilled my coffee. She said that. Clara nodded. People reveal themselves when they think no one's listening. Watch your back, Margaret. Her words lingered like fog over the water. If they saw me as helpless. It explained the distance, the canceled lunches, the eye rolls when I shared stories from my design days. The grandkids still lit up when I arrived. But even that dimmed. Grandma's here to help, Tom would say. Like I was the nanny, not family. I felt invisible, reduced to a utility. Then came the heirloom incident. It was a sapphire ring, passed down from my grandmother, the only thing of value from my foster days. Sarah asked for it one Christmas. Eyes misty.
For sentiment, she said.
I gave it. Heartful. Weeks later, Clara spotted it in a pawn shop window downtown. I confronted Sarah over the phone. We needed the cash for Jack's braces, she admitted. Unapologetic. It was just jewelry. Just jewelry? It was my history, my tether to a past I'd overcome. But to her, it was disposable. Like me. That night, I called Elena. Not to act, but to confirm. Everything secure? I asked. Voice steady. Locked tight, she replied. No access without your say-so. Relief washed over me. But so did sorrow. The girl I'd raised on dreams was chasing shadows, blinded by Tom's influence.
He was the catalyst.
Whispering doubts, fueling the fire.
But Sarah?
She chose to listen. The invitations stopped altogether, for months. I filled my days with volunteer work at the local library, reading to kids, organizing book drives. It was fulfilling, a reminder that life existed beyond their orbit. But the ache remained, a quiet hum in my chest. Then, out of the blue, Sarah called.
Mom.
Come stay the weekend, she chirped, voice brighter than it had been in years. We miss you. Miss me? Or miss what they thought I could provide? I hesitated, but hope flickered. Maybe this was a turning point. I arrived Friday evening, arms full of homemade apple pie and gifts for the kids, stuffed animals for Emma, a puzzle for Jack. They squealed, hugging my legs. Sarah smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Tom nodded from the couch, eyes on his phone. Good to see you, he muttered. The evening passed uneventfully. Dinner, bedtime stories. But Saturday morning, the mask slipped. We have appointments all day, Sarah announced over breakfast. Mind the kids. I nodded, though it stung. This wasn't a visit, it was free labor. I spent the day playing tag in the yard, making sandwiches, wiping tears after a scraped knee. By evening, they returned, shopping bags in tow, new clothes, gadgets. Thanks for holding down the fort, Tom said casually. Sunday followed suit. Chores piled on. Could you weed the garden? Sarah asked. And fold the laundry? I did it, biting my tongue. Dinner that night sealed it. Tom smirked across the table. You look tired, Margaret. Retirement not treating you well? Sarah giggled. Yeah,
Mom.
maybe update your wardrobe. No offense. The words landed like pebbles in a pond, rippling outward. I felt dizzy after, excusing myself to the guest room. Lying there, ceiling fan whirring, I realized this was no mending. It was exploitation, pure and simple. Morning came, and I packed quietly. Downstairs. They waited, Sarah at the sink, Tom with coffee. Leaving already? He asked, tone laced with sarcasm. I poured tea, steadying my nerves. The conversation spiraled fast. You've changed, Tom said. Used to be generous. Now you're just broke and bitter. Sarah nodded. Face it,
Mom.
you're not much use anymore. The room spun. I grabbed my bag, heading for the door. I'm done. Tom blocked me, not without hearing the truth. His shove came sudden,
Hard.
I stumbled, crashing through the sliding glass door in a symphony of shattering. Lying there amid the debris, blood pooling on the cold stone. Time stretched like taffy. My mind raced back, piecing together how we'd arrived at this precipice. The early years with Sarah were golden, weekend picnics at Discovery Park, her tiny hand in mine as we watched seagulls wheel overhead. I'd whisper stories of resilience, hoping to instill grit. But grit turned to greed somewhere along the way. After the ring pawn, I distanced myself subtly. Fewer calls, more boundaries. They noticed, pushing harder.
Mom.
The roof's leaking, Sarah texted one winter. I sent a check, but smaller than before. Tom's response? A snide voicemail. Cheapskate. The grandkids became pawns. Emma asks about you, Sarah would say. Guilt woven in. I'd visit, only to be sidelined, babysitting while they dined out. Clara warned me again over tea. They're scheming. Margaret. Heard Tom bragging at the gym about inheriting big. Thinks you're on your last legs. Inheriting? The trust wasn't theirs, it was mine. With clauses for character. Elena had added them years ago, disbursements only to those who showed respect. No coercion allowed. Violation meant lockdown. The weekend invite felt like a trap now. In hindsight, Friday's warmth was facade. Saturday's errands? A shopping spree on my dime. Indirectly. Sunday's chores? Demeaning. That dinner jab about my appearance? The final spark. In the guest room, insomnia gripped me. Whispers from downstairs floated up. She's weak now, Tom said. Push a little more. Sarah murmured agreement. My blood ran cold. Morning confrontation unfolded like a bad dream. Their words, broke, useless, echoed. My exit attempt. The shove. The crash.
Now.
Standing shakily. Glass in my hair. I faced them. Help me, I whispered to Sarah. She averted her eyes. Tom sneered. Clean up your own mess. I left without a word. Driving home in a daze. Bandages applied. I paced the apartment. The city lights twinkled outside. Indifferent. Elena's number stared back from my phone. It's time, I told her when she answered. We reviewed. Trust frozen. Assets, house co-signed via trust loan, reclaimed as collateral. No sales. No refinances without me. Joint accounts halted. They'll feel it tomorrow, she said. Sleep evaded me. Memories flooded. Sarah's first steps. Her graduation tears of pride. Where did it sour? Tom's arrival. Yes. But Sarah's complicity hurt most. Dawn broke. And the call started. Sarah first. Mom. The checking account's frozen. What happened? Ignored. Tom. Fix this now. Texts piled. Mortgage bounced. Credit cards declined. By noon, panic set in their messages. We can't pay bills, Sarah pleaded. I sipped tea.
Calm.
Elena emailed confirmations. Trust intact at $32 million now. Thanks to market gains. Their house, mine technically, via the trust's lien. I hadn't planned revenge. This was self-preservation. Afternoon brought reflection. I'd given everything love. Opportunities. Silent support. In return?
Scorn.
The cuts on my face would heal. The trust betrayal wouldn't. Evening fell. And I knew they'd come. The knock would be desperate. This time, I'd hold the power. The pounding on my door came at dusk. Frantic and insistent. I let it echo for a moment, gathering my resolve. Opening it, I saw them. Sarah disheveled, eyes red-rimmed, Tom flushed, fists clenched. What have you done? He barked, pushing inside without invitation. Sarah followed, wringing her hands. The apartment felt smaller with their anger filling it. Done. I echoed softly, closing the door. I've protected what's mine. Tom whirled. You froze everything. The house. The accounts. We can't even buy groceries. Sarah sobbed.
Mom.
The kids. They'll lose their home. I cross my arms, the bandages on my cheek a stark reminder. That home was funded by me. The trust you never knew about. Their faces paled. Trust. Tom sputtered. What trust? I sat on the couch, motioning them to chairs they ignored. 25 million from the business sale. Grown to more. Hidden to see your true colors. Sarah gasped. You lied, omitted. I corrected. To test if love was real or transactional. Tom paced. This is extortion. No, I said. It's consequence. You shoved me through glass. Called me useless. Sarah watched. She flinched. We were upset. Upset. My voice rose. The damning emotions breaking. I raised you alone. Sacrificed everything. And you treat me like garbage because you thought I was poor. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. We need help. Tom snarled. Give us access, or we'll sue. I laughed. Cold and hollow. The trust clauses prevent that. Disrespect voids claims. Elena's email pinged. More rejections. Their car loan called in. Investments seized. They begged then. Please. Mom. Sarah knelt. For the grandkids. My heart twisted. But resolve held. You made your bed. Tom lunged forward, but stopped at my steady gaze. Leave, I said. They did. Defeated. Alone. I wept for lost years. Shattered bonds. But dawn brought clarity, freedom from their chains. In the days that followed, the silence was deafening. No more calls. No frantic texts. Words spread through mutual friends, whispers of their downfall. My revelation. Clara stopped by with pie. You did right, she said. Family isn't blood, it's respect. I nodded, but doubt lingered. Was I too harsh? The grandkids' faces haunted me. A week later, a letter arrived from Sarah. Apologies. Promises to change. Tom had left. She said, unable to face ruin. She was selling what she could, starting over. I see now, she wrote. Forgive me? I stared at it. Emotions swirling. Forgiveness? Possible. Trust? Shattered like that glass door. I met Elena for coffee. Options? I asked. She outlined. Partial release for the kids' education. But nothing for Sarah. Your call. I chose mercy, but measured. Funds for school.
Therapy.
Direct to them. Bypassing her. Months passed. I traveled Europe, Asia, living the life I'd deferred. The trust-funded charities. My passions. Sarah reached out sporadically. Tentative bridges. We met once. Coffee awkward but honest. I was blind, she admitted. Tears fell.
Mom.
How do I fix this? You live with it, I said gently. And learn. No full reconciliation, but a fragile peace.
Tom.
Vanished. Chasing fool's gold elsewhere.
Now.
Gazing at the sound, I ponder. Is blood thicker than betrayal? Or does respect define family? The scars fade, but the question echoes. A quiet storm in my soul.